Do we want to chase for kills and let this Lord push in through our mid lane? Maybe that's there's a little bit of a juggle that needs to happen when it comes to some of the decision making and some of the kills that we get. Some of those are unnecessary. Yeah, we tied it up, but we lost like almost our entire mid lane for that.
Yeah, their priorities there in that match was not on point at all. They did have the upper hand at one of the Lord fights, taking out a lot of people, and at that moment they really should have went back and kind of protected their lanes there to kind of regain that map control that they lost, right? But that was something that was a short sight for them. They go ahead and ban that Fanny out, as well as the Clock first pick. First ban, okay.
It always brings me back memories when I'm playing ranked games, for example, when most of the players are like looking for kills, and I say, hey guys, the game is not only kills, and they'll say, oh no, kill doesn't win a game, and the people say, I've never seen a dead player defending a tower, for example. I say, no, but we have to work on macro also here, you know. So there's like a lot of discussion about that, like when you get the kills, when you prioritize kills, then like towers or lords, for example, you know. So like it's a ranked games, especially in
I feel like there should be a balance.
Yeah. On my levels here. But now Zunshin is the banning from a DreamMax, and here I want to talk about like a situation that maybe we are thinking that maybe are on the same page, that DreamMax are trying to play with Zunshin, and the game was hard, but they didn't win. So when it comes to Zunshin now, I think that this Zunshin won't be open to the rest of this best of 5, because it comes with the Entity7. They have a big plan. They had a big plan versus Zunshin here and worked very well. So if they play with Zunshin, I think that the result can be like much bigger for Entity7. So I think that DreamMax is still thinking at the same way. So I don't think that this Zunshin won't be open for Entity7 so far.
Yeah, this is going to be a Harley pickup for DreamMax as they ban out the Uranus. And then I think they were kind of waiting. You saw that they had that you had the Freya pick come in very, very late. There's also some other picks out there, which is why I feel like DreamMax is kind of stalling a little bit. They had they took out the Uranus, which is kind of pointing towards Harley being picked up, because Uranus does a great job of really kind of being that wall in front of him when he uses that deadly magic to block it off of getting those cards onto your fan or onto your team there. They're gonna go with it anyway, but there's a little bit of a decision there, so I'm kind of wondering, because the Phoveus is out as well, so I think that's where kind of the decisions were kind of coming here. Do we want to go or we're just gonna go with the Marcel on the side of Entity7?
Yeah, it looks like they're picking up that Marcel here. We have not seen a very consistent play with Marcel. A lot of teams aren't understanding how he's played correctly, but as we move on in the tournament, I'm starting to see that people are starting to know how to play him without that trio combo, other combos. They're starting to learn what combos and placements for his ultimates are good out there. They're gonna go ahead and also pick up the Trizla, which was one of the combinations. They also had Guinevere, right? It was a Guinevere, Trizla, and Marcel pick. So I wonder if that they're gonna do that trio pick. They have Valentina to also give that golden hour. So we're gonna have this to see this duo golden hour put out there.
Yeah, so I was about to talk about, like, when it comes to Marcel, the other situations of composition that we might see here. So far, Entity7 is like repeating some situation that we are used to see here with Marcel, like working with Terizla or Guinevere, or even Shangi, for example, with the Meteor Shower here. That could be a very interesting one. But now when it comes to Harriet on the gold lane here, like focusing on this late game, and now Valentina, and I think there was a good response for DreamMax, because Valentina here, like with this ability of coping the ultimate, it could be like not the best response for Marcel, but maybe they can turn the things more tied up here in the second match.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, you've got the Terizla out there. I'm wondering, they took out the Selena, which is very interesting. When we talk about people who have had a good understanding of the Marcel, I feel like Entity7 has been one of those that have had a pretty good grasp on Marcel. I feel like they're one of the first teams that I saw in through the entirety of the AMER tournament. Them and Alpha 7 South, who were able to use Marcel with these great combinations out there. Here, looks like we're going a little lighter when the combinations. I think what I've noticed when it comes to Marcel combinations, we don't really. I think the initial burst was let's fit the entire composition around it. But now we're at a point where I feel like when it comes to compositions with Marcel, they just want that one thing that will meld well with him, and they're going to kind of use that to tag team with him, whether it's a Terizla and Marcel, whether it's the Beatrix and Marcel. They usually kind of stick with one that will be able to kind of help carry this pick through this composition here. Now, no more picks or no more bans coming out from the side of Entity7 or DreamMax, looking for those final 2 pickups by a DreamMax. I believe we're looking for a marksman lane and that XP.
Oh, there you go. They went ahead and picked out the Arlet and the Granger there. Like you always say, Granger's a good choice against Harith to kind of give him a lot of that mobility, and Lunix here as well to kind of have that escapability from Harley's ult. So, Entity7 draft is pretty strong.
Late gamer yesterday, late game today, and late game for the future in Entity7's composition here, especially with Lunox and Harith. But I'm really curious about how is Entity7 going to work with that composition, working around Marcel here. Okay, we got this situation with Terizla here with the penalties on, for example, but not with Suyu, for example. So I want to see how Vakin is going to work about this golden hour. More for engage or disengage here. And when it comes to DreamMax, it's a very good composition one, especially when it comes to knocking up players here with the control with Goo on the XP lane. But he has to take care because Arlot is not so resistant here. So when it comes to working on objectives, around objectives, DreamMax might have some problems.
Yeah, Arlot always kind of, he always was a question mark to me too, because his kit kind of goes against sometimes what a lot of people like to use him as when it comes to a lot of people like to use him pretty tankily, but he gets his regen from the damage he is able to dish out from there, which kind of makes him very squishy when it comes up against a lot of these tankier XP laners that you get out there. Hilda, I understand the picks here from coming up from Entity7. There's not a real great amount of targets here for Harley to be able to take down. You've got the dashing abilities from Doom. Shen's going to be able to use that brilliance, like Xena was talking about. Akashi is a pretty tanky if you're going to be using the deadly magic there. And Hide on Bush has got the same mobility issues that Harley's going to have trying to lock him down. So it's going to be very interesting to see how King can come into a lot of these engagements. It's going to come down to, I feel like, a lot of that placement where we've seen Harley be able to, you have to basically scan the entire map to find out where he is, because he's going to be able to, he's got a long distance he can climb to get into that turtle pit, get the retribution, and get himself back out. Early game, I do like what we were thinking from DreamMax with the Hilda pickup, but when you have the Marcel on the opposite side, is that going to be enough? Because Hilda really does not shine when there's a lot of CC on the opposite side to slow her down, to keep her from getting away from a lot of these pot shots. But Rico, take us in to game 2.
Yeah, so let's go, everybody. We're about to see what is going to happen now on the second game. Everybody, welcome to the Land of Dawn. You here in the chat, you are the main star of the show, so don't forget to send the like, to share the broadcast, to share the live, call your friends, because here is Entity7 versus DreamMax.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is very interesting for me. I'm wondering, especially in the early game, both roams here have a great early game, especially if you play the Marcel very aggressively, constantly going in. Look at right here, immediately going in, getting that stun. The Blink is going to have a lot of trouble when it comes to trying to make use of the harassment that you usually like to see on a Hilda pickup.
Yeah, Vakin here still on the level 1 here, while Blink is level 2. Vakin!
Oh, yeah, Blink actually trying to go in, gets frozen immediately. And this is what I was talking about. You've got that great damage coming from Shakitse. Unfortunately, Vaguin doing a great job of making sure that Blink is not able to follow up on that. He immediately gets the root onto him, immediately stops him from trying to be that secondary player.
Yeah, not only about like getting the harassment coming from Hilda for example, but Shaikichi is a very good mid lane, so she knows what she's doing. She knows the tempo, she knows the right movement here when it comes to the mid lane players so far. So when she does this knowledge, when she does this control, it is a very good situation for DreamMax. But on the mid lane here, the part is going on.
Yeah, Goo going back. King actually off screen, able to find a kill on the hide on bush, and a little bit of a fight going on at the mid lane as well. One down for each side. I believe, was that Entity7 who was able to get the first blood?
It was King actually. Yeah,
okay.
Coming from DreamMax. Yeah, it was first blood from King, and then Shin could take the kill on a King so far. So the mid lane here from Lunox is very nice. From King is very good too. So it's a Harley. He needs this early game very strong. But now in the turtle.
Yeah, big fight going on. 4v2 members right now. Shin in trouble here as Harley.
Whoa.
King tries to come in and find a kill. Blink able to find one of his own onto Shin. So a great job coming out from DreamMax, and hide on bush able to reply with the turtle there, but and finds himself a kill onto King as well. Oh, a big flicker penalty zone coming out from Akashi, and Shaikiche might be in a little bit of trouble. Has to use that IMU golden hour to freeze the onslaught.
But whose was this golden hour? I'm shaking right now. But now here comes the response coming out from DreamMax. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, that wasn't Shakisa because he still has her ultimate there, so I'm very confused. That might have been a little bit of a misread from Entity7. I thought because it stopped Entity7 from killing her, that obviously had to have been her. But no, she was able to actually get away. And is going to be able to go underneath the tower. King there, putting some damage with that deadly magic. Is it going to be enough? It is not enough to take down Vegin, but hide on bush putting the boots to this tower at bottom.
King here was very brave, not only to stack the ultimate when it comes to stacking the cards. He didn't get away, he didn't run away. He stood on the specific and the possible pick off here, and it was a very good. He almost took down here Vagin on the cards stacked. He didn't kill Vagin, but so far, like, with the Harley here, King is playing comfortable. Okay, the turtle, the first one was for Entity7, but here, DreamMax is still on the game.
Yeah, still trying here. They still are kind of maintaining. Ooh, back in, takes a lot of deadly magic. That's going to be a wrap for him. He might be in trouble. Hide on bush, able to find a kill onto Blink. The brilliance coming out from Shakitse, able to get her out of harm's way. You see that Hunter Strike being picked up for Zeus. Penalty zone coming in for Goo. Might be in a little bit of trouble here. Looking for the dash. Big final slash comes out, but there's 3 people from Entity7 able to find the kill.
Shin came from the bottom lane here only to get the kill and say thank you. Thank you, folks, for getting the kill. But now Vagin once again. Oh, golden hour.
Yeah, golden hour is not going to be able to save him. Zaman Force comes down. They're able to isolate down onto King. Doom pressing forward. Shakitse in trouble. Is going to have to use that brilliance to get away as Zeus on the run as well. Blink came in. Ooh, very close to getting taken out by 3 members of Entity7. Entered that fight a hair too late when DreamMax already had themselves a disengagement. And Goo, with the final slash, dives into Entity7 here, getting them another kill and, unfortunately, a tower.
Goo trying to defend the tower here, trying to clean the mini wave, but it wasn't enough. And now Entity7 getting one more tower on the mid lane. Oh my goodness. When it comes to Mobile Legends Private, I love this game so much because when, like, 1 minute or like just a little bit from 1 minute, for example, Entity7 was able to take the kills and get 2 more towers. Like, it's very fast. Mobile Legends is very fast. It's very dynamic. You are not allowed to blink here, because if you do that, you can lose the game.
Yeah, so as we're going to go ahead and push forward from... Oh, nice final slash on the Vagin. Is that going to be a tower shot that is going to be able to take him down alongside the damage coming on from Shakitse? 5 to 8 right now in favor of Entity7. Now pushing on all the tier 1 towers down for the side of DreamMax.
Yeah, so no first line here of towers. Oh!
Yeah, Brilliant's coming out. Blink gonna go ahead and find a kill onto Hide on Bush. Might be in trouble as the Zaman Force has been laid down. Shin on the backside with that darkening, able to find a kill. Doom in trouble, presses too far and finds himself face to face with the deadly magic from King. Answering back 7 to 9 right now, but are we able to get some type of objective from the side of DreamMax? We're able to keep up when it comes to the kills, but as far as the macro, Entity7 basically enforcing their way through the map of DreamMax here. Final turtle of this game as Good looking for a little bit of zoning out there. Again on the backside coming in, does find a freeze, does not find himself a save of that last turtle.
I want to see here, Shaikichi, what are you made of? She was a very cold blood when Doom was trying to chase her down here, and she was like, okay, waiting for the cavalry. But now comes Entity7 once again.
Oh, yeah, Zeus narrowly able to get himself out of harm's way. Blink able to find a kill on to Vagin as Hide on Bush able to reply in kind. Doom has to use that flicker to get away. Zeus is down as Hide on Bush finds himself another kill. 2 down for each as now looking final slash misses Shin using that flicker to get out of harm's way. King coming in for the recovery is able to find a disengagement for Goo.
Yeah, so as you, Private, were saying before the game starts, the Entity7 here, it has to be concerned about a King's position. As we see now, the damage dealt ranking with the Shin so far with more than like, it almost...
When he's trying to come in for these like little pickoffs, but unfortunately when it comes to some of these towers and these fights, speaking of which, Shakichi in a little bit of trouble, has to use that flicker. So they're not gonna have that flicker for this next Lord coming out on the side, on the bottom side here.
Yeah, it's a very important spell here coming out from DreamMax. Shaikichi has not this available to the first Lord, but it's DreamMax here, as you were saying, like they are in the game. The game is still tied up so far because okay, the macro here comes from Entity7, like they have the dominance, especially when it comes to towers. But now the Lord immediately started by Entity7. We will have a fight back here.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely bursted down. Big final slash lands on the 3 members. Vagin gonna go ahead and chase up at the top lane. Zaman Force has been laid down. Vagin gets taken out by Blink, but the reply is immediate. 1-to-1 as Entity7 looking for the disengage here. Hide on Bush comes in, looking for the stun, does not find it. Maybe a tower coming out. Final slash coming out from Goo as Akashi comes in with the penalty zone. Does miss the members of DreamMax, but this time DreamMax do have the Lord in their sight, are going to go ahead and chase it down.
Yeah, DreamMax, this time you are not allowed to forget the Lord. You have to take down here, have to neutralize this objective. Meanwhile, Entity7 is trying to push their other sides, the minion waves. The first one here in the mid lane. So King now is about to neutralize. The second one on the bottom lane here. Will he have a party on the bottom lane? Here we go.
Yeah, you can see 3 members versus 2 of DreamMax. Now come in the reinforcements from the side, Shakiche and King. Ooh, look at the damage that comes on, but King gets taken out by Hide on a Bush. I believe that was an evil Queller that was able to find the final shot there. 10-13, now trying to push their way through this mid-tier 2 tower. Almost high grounds left for the side of DreamMax as Entity7 makes short work of this tier 2 tower at the mid lane. Another evil Queller comes out out just to say hello to DreamMax at that mid lane and minions at the bottom and top. Ooh, a big flicker and a good golden hour on the backside. Is that going to be enough to take down DreamMax? They push their way through this high ground tower. Akashi in trouble, taking a heap of damage, including the deadly magic coming out from King, is able to find the disengage.
That was a close call here coming out from Entity7. They almost lost some players in the process, but they were able to head back. They were able to handle that situation. They didn't lose a single player. They took down the high ground on the bottom lane here. Super minions for Entity7. 12 minutes of the second game so far, and Entity7 once again with the high advantage.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of curious as to what Akashi has on, because he didn't take any damage. Lot of that damage coming out from the side of DreamMax, and still here, now gonna need to look for a way in as this next Lord on the board.
Lord here getting melted down. Oh, here we go.
Oh. Yeah, not even a chance for DreamMax to kind of come in there as they immediately get confronted with a golden hour. Goo is the next one on the chopping block. Blink and Zeus looking for an escape as they chase down Blink. King on the backside with the deadly magic. He's going to get taken out by Doom. That's 2 down immediately here for Dream as Blink looking for an escape. Might not be long for this world. Gets taken down by Hide on Bush. Just 2 left for DreamMax. A penalty zone lands onto both of them. Down is a Zeus. Shaikitse alone to try to defend this core against Entity7. Minions rushing in. Shaikitse putting on the damage, looking for the defense, trying to take out some of these minions as a Goo on the back end is not going to be enough to stop this game to win for Entity7.
No chance here for the Dragon Boys, and the first match here is 2-0 for Entity7, Zena.
Wow, what a match that was. They were doing so well at the start. They were keeping things even between DreamMax and Entity, but at the end, the Lord made the difference. That thing tunneled down, took out everything, and the only thing DreamMax could do was try to defend, and that was not working out. But there goes 2 wins here for the side of Entity7.
I feel like on 2 fronts we had some issues on the side of DreamMax. One being an enabler for King on that Harley. Yeah, they took out Uranus so that they were able to pick up the Harley, but the only 2 targets that you really had were Terizla and Marcel, who had both immediately built Radiant Armors. The other targets that you had for him to be able to try to chase down were very mobile, had so many dashes that they could use to get away, and of course the brilliance that you could use from Shin. So just very hard for him to lock anybody down. Shaikitse, even with this onslaught, doesn't suffer any deaths here, but still not able to fit in to find that damage to really be able to take advantage of this pickup as well. I feel like I think I saw a lot of IMU brilliances coming out from Shaikitse to try to get away from the heavy chasing ability coming from Entity7, and a great job by them again. The other front being the macroing ability when it comes to these fights and find the objectives, not just the turtles, but to be able to find the kills and the towers that meant so much for them, especially in the early game.
Yeah, I agree with you here, Private. And on the DreamMax side here, like I was concerned about like Goo's choice, especially when it comes to Arlott, because okay, he has this mobility and this fact that he can knock it up the players, for example, knock it up with this control, and maybe on some point of the game he can work on the split burst, for example. But he was like totally neutralized. He was not able to do much for DreamMax, especially when it comes to that communication situation on execution and team fights, because sometimes we used to see like Goo trying to do something and knocking up like 3 players from Entity7, but there was no follow-up. There is no like a sequence on the execution coming out from a DreamMax, because King was so far, Zoo was not so comfortable like with the Granger, for example, on this team fight. So Sometimes I felt like, okay, Gu was trying to do something, but the rest of the teams were not on the same page here, especially when it comes to Blink, for example, and Zeus. Zeus with Granger was like, I think that he got only one kill, and Blink as a roamer got 4 kills here with Hilda. Okay, we can discuss about like, okay, Hilda is very strong. She can do this harassment on the jungler, for example, and with this mobility and the movement speed can get these kills. But still, Zeus is a gold laner. Zeus was playing with the Granger, and when it comes to range here, he was supposed to get some kind of advantage on the team fights, but it wasn't enough here for DreamMax to guarantee this victory or some kind of advantage for versus Entity7. And what we saw here was once again Entity7 playing forward, playing aggressive, even though when Vakin was not so like free and not with a very good execution with Marcel, but still Entity7 knew the way to get this victory on the second game.
They read the game perfectly and punished every mistake. Who will be our MVP? Drum roll, please. It is Hide on Bush. Of course, our MVP is the jungle on Entity7. 10-6 KDA, 54.1k total damage, and 849 golds per minute.
Yeah, I mean, a great job by him there, and I feel like Rico hit a nail too that I wasn't even considering too. Is especially when it comes to these top tier games of like min-maxing, where every kill matters, where every tower matters. Who those kills go on to is very, very important. Whereas if you're the Hilda, yeah, you're doing great, you're getting kills. I think they had 4 there, and then it's like, yes, but who did you take those kills away from? Here you can see a lot of the damage coming out from the side with Hide on Bush just having a great game for himself to find all of this damage there. Another one on to Blink as well. Suyo, I mean, usually when it comes down to a lot of these Suyo games, man, you're just going to see a lot of that. He just packs so much when it comes to his kit that he can have out there. Kashe missing with that penalty zone just to kind of stave off this fight at one.